Thank you very much. Yeah, my name is Norbert Gruenwald. I think everybody can know me from the audience. I'm professor at Wismar University, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you. He will step to me. He sits next to me, but he will make the presentation. Introduce Assistant Professor Dr. Ulrich Förster. He has a long history. Oh, how can I shift it? He has a long history in industry, and since 7 years, he's also assistant professor at our university. And he will talk about short courses, about a short set of short courses, what we have developed in the last years. Nowadays, they are called micro-credentials. And what is very important, he will talk about the background, why to develop this, what is the reason, what are modern needs to develop this. It's my pleasure to give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Förster.
It's not true. Also, the chair you have to give to me, right? So, okay. So, hello everybody. I don't need to introduce myself more further. Thanks very much for having the opportunity, and worked very long time together with the university and Norbert Gruenwald, especially in developing in a very close connection with industry what should I say, the required skills for, let's say, meeting the future. We talked a lot about today about software solutions and finance solutions in urban transportation, which is not my subject at all. I'm more from the technology side. And we have seen that road traffic and everything, what is available on the market. But if you talk about education and skills required to manage these complex systems, and I don't care it is a power plant, is it in road traffic, it is a ship, is it something else, the fundamentals of that are all the same. And we have taken, therefore, a different approach in a module called operations management. Is more dedicated to provide the fundamentals, in other words, the skills to the students in order to use these solutions already in the market or will be developed. Stanislav talked about autonomous shipping, right? And similar to the road traffic with 6 different stages, shipping under the MASS concept has 4 stages. And we are right in the middle from transformation from the 2nd to the 3rd. The students, of course, say, yes, we heard about the MASS concept. Nice concept. We saw the nice lady staying on the screen and repairing a ship, which is totally unmanned. And I said, yes. But the students asked the next question. What's going to happen if a main engine or an engine breaks in the middle? Is our model collapsing? What can we do about that? So we have taken a different approach. We are providing the students with, how should I say that, and more insight about processes and the required skills in order to manage these complex systems, which are mainly decision support and software support. But if the students don't know that, I saw in the beginning of that project that we talked about, the students should develop urban plans. But they need the skills first to do. It is not to say, right here, you're a student, sit down and here's a software solution, make it ready. Absolutely nonsense. Because you talked about risk assessment. I saw very often the word here, safety. Yeah, we have an economic and a technical safety. Don't forget that. So in terms of defining that, using risk models, risk technology, assessment tools, that's what we have to provide to the students in order to be able to manage transportation, urban modeling, simulation, all the phrases which have been given within the first sessions here. So what we have analyzed, and as I spent 45 years in the marine and offshore industry, developing occupational health and safety programs, for example. Nobody talked about occupational health and safety. It's today a key element. And road safety is one of the issues, not only for driving a car. Road safety is an issue for all people, engineers working in that environment. Going from home to work, that's road safety. There the story starts, right? So we have done a lot of exercises inviting leading industry representatives to say, what do you want from us? What is your expectation for students you want to employ in your professional departments to meet that future? From there, we developed then a module plan, which I'll show you in the next couple of minutes. So, core elements of required skills to manage the process of emerging technologies. We're talking about disruptive technologies, emerging technologies, all the same. The Ukrainian war is a disruptive technology. And we got to be prepared for such things. We cannot teach our students on things which happened. Technology is well ahead of us. Automotive is well ahead of road traffic and things like that in general, right? We're talking about autonomous cars, and I drove from the airport from Norway with a total unmanned car to a company in the north of Norway. I declined to do that for safety reasons, because my company, when I was employed, said, don't do that, Ulrich. This is to have a driver. He came, was sitting next to me, control about the car, but didn't touch anything. 250 kilometers, totally unmanned. So the future is there already. What are we talking about when we're educating people to meet these challenges, right? So in that context, we will then also at the end, as agreed with Norbert, present a module plan, how we have done that, and we are already teaching students on that since 2 years, right? So let me begin. Technology has always shaped and changed industries. We're absolutely clear on that, right? But there is no doubt, however, that the complexity of this, the interlinks, the software solutions. We heard the word about cybersecurity, big subjects. If we start talking about autonomous shipping, what about cybersecurity? And there are rules in place, regulatory schemes on the European platform and worldwide already existing. We got to teach the students on. We have to give them the platform where they can develop specific tools, like specific modeling of roads. Without the basic, the fundamental knowledge, it doesn't help them. They have to go 3 steps back all the time. Do we want that? Do we have the time for that? Let's ask that question, right? So I've only highlighted here in some bubbles what is the critical infrastructure, critical systems, things like that we have to consider when we're developing future-oriented educational schemes to meet that. Risk assessment, for example. There are only little institutions and universities which provide a risk assessment module and program. If I was employed and started and wanted to go offshore on a platform, which I did, the first question from the company said, did you attend a risk assessment course? I said, no. Why? You're coming from the university, right? So we got to do that on our cost, right? Why are we not providing students with such things which they can handle, enabling them also to fit into the expectation level of the companies, right? Easy things, not complicated. The knowledge are there, just to be transformed into action. I show you. So these are only some bubbles, and I would probably need an hour to tell you something about that. But one is on the top, can you see the cursor on that? No. I don't like to sit down and give a presentation. I hate that. I'm unpolite, I know that, sorry. Yeah? Oh, that one, yeah. No.
Okay.
It's not seen on the funny either. Forget it, I don't want it. Come on, forget it. On the top, social skills and competences is one of these bubbles. The size of the bubble will present something we got to do now or later. You can shape that according to your condition, to your circumstances you're working in, to your demand you're working in. Excellent. But I still have to sit down, right?
Yes.
No, you can.
Yes.
For a moment.
Maybe problem solver, problem solver.
Sorry. Come on.
No,
One more.
I didn't do it.
Okay, try
No,
with this
yes.
one. No,
That's what the top,
this,
right?
and
Yeah,
that
this is
one,
clear,
and
yeah.
this is
Where's the,
individual.
this one.
Okay. Good.
Thank you. Right. So ich make laser, that one. That's what I meant to say. Social skills and competences have been added. When we talk about transportation system, we're talking, we're talking about global supply chain. When I talk about that, I talk about global supply chain security, right? These are the elements we got to address more than less when we are considering future plans, which we have seen already in many respects. So if you look at this, what does it mean in other words? And I put in by intention assets like transport installations become an integrated link with everything. If you look at the shipping industry, as we have seen from Stanislav about autonomous shipping, shipping now is challenged in any respect in terms of emission control, in terms of using alternative fuels. Alternative fuels are transported somehow to the ship. So that means that it's not the ship alone to consider. It's the whole transportation chain with shipping and transporting dangerous things like nitrogen, like LNG fuels and things like that on the road to provide that to the ship. So we need to get more in a so-called sophisticated approach about that, a more holistic approach about that, linking the different transportation assets together. And the immersion of digital technology into everything that surrounds the entire transport system is underway. We heard about urban development a lot today, but I have added something on that. Let me say that. Look at this. Ports, international legislation, the role of international legislation. Cybersecurity, yes, we don't need to say we don't know about that. There is an IATS Euro East 26 paper in place, clearly rules out what urbans, what companies, what manufacturer and operators have to do in terms of that as a minimum requirement, which is European law. We got to teach the students about it. So we're starting from the design to really the operations, linking that together. And you see logistic, ports, international, say, maritime administrations, delete maritime administrations. From my personal experience, having now trained more than 120 students on that modules, 70% went to administrations. They don't want to stay in traffic control systems and things like that. They don't want to stay on a ship longer than 3-4 years. Then they want to go to administration, to control, to manage complex systems, right? So, having said that, the overriding objective for us was, when we developed these modules, was to qualify really the students. And we have international students, and we analyzed what's the level of competence they're bringing. Some of them have never heard about engineering technology. Some of them were where English is not their first language, not native language, like myself, right? And you can't expect the same level of that. So we started really with perceived obstacles or a problem, and then we start really what do we do in order to raise their technical understanding to prepare the platform for them to, let's say, accumulate the skills and then being able in specific projects to go to specific problem areas, like we heard today. But without having the fundamentals, that's not possible. And my personal view on that is really managing complexity requires a more holistic approach in skills delivery to manage the future as the future is there. We have a lot of technology. Alone, what is in inspection and test technology or in monitoring technology developed over the past 5 years is evolutionary. I don't talk about revolution, as my colleague said, but it is evolution in test and inspection. So we need, when we talk about drones, has everyone operated a drone? That's not easy. That's not so easy. You need to have skills for that, right? So we're talking about anything in inspection, text is changing, remote inspection, using cameras and things like that, controlling traffic control. But how to do that, right? And this is maybe start the basic. We have done an approach that we say we're using the technology. Now we need to teach on that technology to be used to make it safe, efficient, and implemented where not as good as possible, good as necessary, right? So I'm coming slowly to the end, don't be worried. Right, so these are 3 bubbles I added yesterday night on that because after the first day I explained some. Which are the areas? The first one for me is really, what do we do by changes of international legislation? Trading is international business, is nothing which is linked to one country or one town, things like that. The second is how we keep pace with the implementation of emerging technologies, as I call them, right? So advanced technology. And the third is, that's then really the part from Norbert to say how we developed then microtension out of that to making an approach to qualify students to meet that. And when I talk about students, I'm talking not about students, I talk about students, further education, because we have thousands of people working already in that environment. We can't forget that, right? And train the trainer as the starting point to start to have a, let's say, homogeneous level of knowledge across Europe. That's important, so that we can share resources. What is the demand by all European countries? And as an example, when we talked about emission trading, I have just found that slide. You see, as I'm coming from shipping, forgive me for that, but roads in, aviation is in, even the infrastructure, critical infrastructure is in. I love that one because it ends with a ship and big container ship. So that is really, and you see, there's a lot of things already in place which drives that development, but we've got to teach the students on that. We are not starting from scratch at all. And for the second example, what are the skills? What we are saying, asset management. I, by intention, use the word asset. If it's a car, if it is a lorry, if it is an airplane, if it is a ship, at the end of the day, it's a complex technical system, is an asset, what we have to consider. And please don't do that in education in isolation, right? That requires also new maintenance strategies to develop, going from preventive to predictive maintenance. All that is in. When I talked about that digital twin, we have a digital twin at our university. We're teaching people on simulation knowledge and digital twin, digital health management. Evolution inspection, I talked about that, cybersecurity on the platform. If we want to get autonomous, one of the potential risks with that is that it must be cyber safe. And shipping, for example, gets through the classification societies already cyber safe mutations, fulfilling that requirement. So we got to teach the students about it. And last but not least, advanced system of production quality assurance. If we don't provide the technology fundamental in terms of highest reliability of our assets, and that needs to be inspected, models in place. We don't go for direct inspection any longer. That's all in hand already. And now it comes at the end. That's too much on the slide, I know that, but so what is the aim or vision of theoretical level under this approach we have taken, right? You see, be analytical, be creative, right? These are things, didactical knowledge, impact of emerging technology, we need to say that, evolution and maintenance strategies, theoretical aspect and practical application of reliability assessment. These are the fundamental things students need. And I'm talking here about the bachelor level. We do it for the bachelors. And each bachelor can, after finishing successfully studies, decide go for a master in a specialized direction. Then your presentation comes to the play. Yeah, please, student, your master thesis is modeling a road safety from place A to B. For example, carrying electrical vehicles on ferries, battery operated vehicles and lorries. We all know about the potential risks and the accidents already read. I'm at the moment supervising 2 master theses on designing ship in carrying electrical vehicles on ships and designing fire extinguishing system for electrical vehicles. Where to store on the ship. We had 5 accidents in the last months on ferries carrying electrical or battery-driven cars, which went in fire on a deck with all others. The current extinguisher systems are not able to do that, to kill the fire in a certain time, right? This is what I mean. That ignites also the fire in the eyes of the students, because that is where they are interested in the world, right? Only giving you an example, right? And that is then giving them also the right, let's say, skills and knowledge to work in the administration of that. As more and more, let's say, tasks will be shifted from offshore to shore base, or in projects to centralized control stations, right? So that's the last slide. And this is the modules we have developed in order to meet that. They are not fixed. They are flexible models which can be adopted according to the subject matter demand. We're starting really with fundamentals in maintenance, maintenance fundamentals in regulatory framework, objectives of costs. Yeah, every student should be able also to do that and should also assess a potential risk is always twofold: economic risk and technical risk. And I talked about what is an ROI to students that I never heard about, return of investment. Yeah. So we're giving them also a bit of background then about maintenance strategies, evolution and maintenance strategies, digital twin technology, which is already existing. We're talking not about something which need to be developed. And then we go in failure detection, condition monitoring, risk assessment methodology, occupational health and safety. Students asking, can we have a certificate when we go in the company? Any company has to have as a vetting criteria and an occupational health and safety policy. We talked about that. Advanced systems of supply chain control and product assuring, monitoring skills, human-centered design. I don't want to repeat that. You can read on your own, right? And this is all at the end with the last one. That is what Norbert loves so much. Yeah, where is it? Is it good? All right. Business skills prioritize to cope with disruptive technology. That's one. So this is our model. And as I said, this is a bachelor degree where they get all these fundamental information about, and then afterwards they can write, and we do it in project work as well. So half through, I give the students then a number of projects and developing communication skills with them as part of it. I tell them you can have 10 slides and you can use wind farm technology, you can use offshore technology, you can use a power plant, maybe a nuclear power plant, I don't care. And you get 10 slides to present that to me, how you would approach that. And I give them also instructions, say you start with a legislative and international framework review. What is the minimum what you have to fulfill in terms of legislation? And then they can develop a project in groups of 3 and 4 students. And then they present it to all of the students, not more than 10 cents. As I'm not reading it in the 11th slide. You must be able to present that in 10 slides. And that will be then evaluated in accordance that, and they present that to any students. And for some of the modules, you're getting also an extra certificate, like we're doing audit skills with them, process audit skills, according to the international, to ISO standard or to ISM standard, TSMA standard or whatever, where the student's sitting and I'm playing the financial director of a company and they have to sell me an audit skill. And I'm very nasty, believe me about that. So developing their skills means we're also testing how they were able to accumulate the knowledge, being able to transform. Thank you very much. Any questions? Norbert, come on here now. Questions you got to answer.
Can you put the last slide? Can you put the last slide?
Last slide.
There are 4 different short courses. For every course, you get a certificate. You can cumulate this, but you can say, okay, I do not need the module 9, I do not need the module 2, I start with module 3. That's enough for me, or I take only module 4. And you get certificates for everything. And what he also already say that is students like this. Okay.
Yeah. First of all, we need to read it because we don't see exactly. You know, you have a very prospective name, title, proposal, and we will study. But my question is regarding degree, or how to say, when we are talking about such approach, is it relevant for bachelor, or we are talking about master or graduated person?
We have, thanks for the question. We have developed that, as Norbert rightly said, applying the modular principle. Or it is in basic, it's a bachelor program where the gray ones on the bottom line are mostly intended for the masters. So what we are doing is really we're saying it is irrelevant for me if it is a bachelor or master students in the fundamentals. They have to start from the same platform, right? When we then go through some of the students we identifying which have the potential for a master, we approaching them and saying, right, come on, the next module is probably a module where you can get a specialized knowledge on in project work, on the simulator in our university, in practical application, and if possible, we link them directly to a company already. So most of our students working after the bachelor asking them in the company to get even an internship there and getting a subject matter related subject from the company, which we are then both mentoring. For example, the electrical vehicle, we had one with 2 ferry operators in Europe. And they asked really, can you do that? So we took 3 students, asked them, and they have written their master's thesis on that. And 2 of them got an employment afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
It is in principle not directly related to bachelor. That is developed for, in principle, for further development, also for qualification. But we use it in bachelor and we use it also in master. Yeah? That's
the same module is asked by 2 shipowning companies in Germany, which came to me, and that's why the week after next I have a full week with them, asking to qualify all their captains and chief engineers and administration and board staff, administration staff. And they said, hey, you don't need that. I'm come to you, and then we're shifting the modules to the right and left. What can we leave out? What can we add to that? We have even more modules as expressed here, right? So we keep it very flexible, tailor-made for. So one of the shipping companies said we're operating only tankers already. So we are not so much interested in, let's say, container logistics as an example, right? And the ferry operator said, oh, that box is mine. Right? I said, this is exactly what we want.
said that which model I can choose, which I want.
Okay, in
model.
principle,
And
Yeah.
principle is, after that, I have a certificate, yes? How is certificate legalization in the German education?
this is not the problem for education, it's more for companies.
Yes, and in companies,
Yeah.
because our students have a diploma and our companies, okay, you have a diploma, they read what, and they, how is, they understand it, but how they understand the certificate?
Oh.
No, how our companies,
It's estimated.
estimate,
Legal,
yes,
the
estimate.
legal value of this.
Yes, and
Okay.
the diploma is obvious.
Yes.
No,
What
that is-
about
now,
certificate?
it's the time changed.
Yes.
Companies do not look so much to degrees. They look more for skills and competencies. And with this certificate, you prove skills and competencies. And that's what the companies see. The companies, they say, bachelor, okay, you have it, that's not so interesting. But what kind of competences you have? What
Yeah.
kind of skills you have?
What can you offer with your
It's
bachelor
a-
degree to
The
us?
problem is that
It's getting
Caterina,
certificate gives the universities.
Caterina is speaking about the legal value of the legal value, but you are this is the concrete. It's different because for in Italy, like a degree, here we have the legal value of the degree. In the USA, you don't have the legal. You have the competence. This is
Okay. This, about this problem, we talk about later when we speak about micro-credential in general. Certificated courses. This is part of the bachelor program nowadays, fully accepted in the bachelor. And this is why there's no problem of quality in the
It's
system.
an accredited, fully accredited module, right by the government.
That is not something what's done from somewhere. Very
It's validated and evaluated.
in general,
Understand.
micro-credentials need somewhere certification, a real certification or accreditation, if you want.
Yes.
To have the certification, it is possible to have an exam, for instance. At
An
the
example
end
for a
of-
certificate. You can prepare
We
it.
can do that. We can provide that. I don't have it with me.
Yeah.
But the certificates are flexible, as you say, you can have
Okay.
a flexible for one.
No, because there is a case for a very specific topic that is the dangerous good or transport of dangerous good. At European level,
Yeah,
there is a figure that is similar to a.
we have, for example, dangerous goods and shipping included in classification. You see that for marine classification, is it
Okay.
right? It's the third one, compliance inspection, remote human design, marine classification. We did take out by intention because Robert said, don't start talk as a captain, as I used to be.
how much credit? How many credits for one of this?
We talk about one credit is about 3-4 credits. Right?
Yeah.
3-4.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because in mine it's quite whole fork would be like a master of practice.
No,
It's a but is a part very specific.
Understand that, yeah.
For example, here in Italy we have that for teaching at the school, the people have to obtain this skill, this type of macro-credential, these skills, and then they have to have 20 credits, and then need the certificates
Yeah,
that prove these competence. And then they come here at the university, we offer these models, we have 20 credits, and respect what they need, the needs for,
credentials,
it's
to
similar,
define
but
the
it's
diploma.
more specific for, it's more flexible for capture the ongoing changes in the industry. Because every 2 years you can update and capture real what the market work wants.
as you say, even this, you calculate here maybe 15 credits, and then you have to go to university. If the university accepts it, you can continue with a master degree as well. That is the future.
And this is the problem of update. For instance, in the dangerous good, for obligation, every 2 years, each safety dangerous have
Criteria.
to reply an exam.
Yeah, that is correct. We are not qualifying them to be a technical officer in the first place. We're giving them the fundamentals, how to manage the dangerous skills, how to manage classification services, how to manage the principles, classification, inspections, etc. Yeah, and giving them the classification cycle, telling them first cycle service, and what is a special survey, what is an immediate. That they get in the company then, these credentials, because when they work can be done. So that's what we do. Especially, can I stand up there without this?
Of course.
Yes.
Be free.
All right. If you look at that one, we developed that one. I'm working with the German VDMA, the German Association of Machinery, the big project manager in CMAC, right? And I have a module. It was never been my intention. I'm 70 years old. I should stop working, really. When I finished my professional career, I worked the last time on developing advanced system of product assurance, very important for all companies. Reliability, availability. Now we have developed that, and I'm still the project manager on that. But I said to the professors at my university, hey guys, why are we not adding that one to that module? Giving them audit skills, process audit skills. So they're coming in a company, and I don't care which company it is. Is it a manufacturer, is it a sampler, is it a traffic control center or whatever, or roadmap or a lorry, they will be audited. And then the students ask correctly, can we have a certificate only for that module? So that when I start my professional career and go to a company and I have my map and certificate, I attended a 2 days course about audit skills according to ISO 9900, ISN standard TSMA, whatever it is. Bang. Right? So it's now not only that we had an idea, we get a strong response back from the companies. I had 3 students only with that certificate. We got immediately employment in a certifying authority nearby Rostock. Right? They asked me, the manager asked me, can you provide these 3 good students? We need them urgently. Right? This is the thinking behind that. Right? It is not only selling something with a mark, getting something back, and you get the industry interested. They are asking, and we do that regularly. Half year we invite them on a simulator in order to simulate them something, put him on a bridge, right? He can drive a ship in the harbor, and then we say, hey, what skills you need? Is that what we're doing the right thing? Is that really appropriate to meet that expectation of the? And then we get the input from. Then we developing. Will be accredited, will be evaluated. There's nothing outside the formal assessment and the accreditation. So now I'm stopping and looking for. Okay.
I think you will finish this presentation. It's a nice task. Thinking a little bit disruptive, thinking a little bit out of the box.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
But that was our intention.
It's an easy task. Everybody knows the chess field.
Mhm.
Yeah, 8 times 8, 64 fields. And you put and you have domino stones that fits exactly on 2 together. And now you took from the chess field the upper left, the upper right, and the bottom left corner away. Then you have 64 fields. Where's left? Now you have 31 domino stones. 31 domino stones can fit 62 fields. How do you place the 32 domino stones on this little bit? Yeah, this where you put the corners away on this that you can cover the whole field. Think about it. Then you have it for the minutes. If anybody has a solution, he can send it. No problem.
No, but you always ask, some, or give some question.
You like Hercule Poirot, who cares?
Anyway,
Yes.
thanks for your attention.
Yeah.